So I thought I'd go over the first round games where Valger and myself met ANMemmedov and TheWolfofWallStreet. We're starting with the black colors, and we're up against I mean, they were played pretty well, at least in the beginning, or maybe we played badly, I don't know. So already on the first move I was a little bit surprised. I thought we would play something else, but anyway, it was fine. I guess you'll have to wait and see. I think this night jump is a little bit committal. You can do it, but at the same time you're playing the same piece twice. And here I don't really like this move, and the reason is that the red queen is not out yet, so it's a natural block is to open up the queen as well. Then you're almost forced to counter that as well, which gives yellow more time. So I would probably play something neutral, either knight out or bishop out. Here. Either of these. I think bishop is probably safer. And then you can challenge with the knight the control over the square. And if the queen leaves too early, then f2 is hanging. Anyway, so compared to if many people like to kick the knight first, but you might not need it if you play the bishop. Anyway, so this was testing enough. I mean, we had almost reversed colors in the second game. All normal so far. The reason for this move is because the queen was moved. Now ideally maybe you wanted to play the knight first, and in response to a e4 yeah, e4, you hope to make the knight move, and if yellow pushes soon, then the knight is kind of misplaced. So it's hard to judge. Well, that was the reasoning behind this move. Now it's not possible to play. I mean, you can play e4 and this jump. Yeah, I was kind of expecting e4. I guess e4 also hits this one. Yeah, on this move. I kind of dislike developing the red queen here. And the same for the last move. Like, I want e4. And also for the yellow move, if you are very critical, maybe you can push. But then it gets very tactical. Because take, then I have any queen move that threatens a checkmate on yellow. Who knows? Yeah, so the game went on, and this knight jump is designed against the pawn push. But in fact it may not have been a threat yet. Still, it's a decent move in such positions. The bishop develops. Possibly, yeah, it makes a lot of sense just to avoid any queen attacks. At the same time, I just want this queen move back. If you make these two knight moves very early and you're not going 94, then I don't really get it. Anyway, so I guess we're going for a corner attack, but the main point is to work against 94. So I guess e4 again. So I'm feeling pretty safe. Possibly they could have tried attacking me, but yeah, I mean it may work. Yeah, but here we had the main threat was d8, queen moves, queen check, and then there are two places to defend the queen. And the only way, if you have, what the move they played in the game was very nice. This move actually prevents it because it covers. Ah, so I have a visitor. So it should be one of the players because my arrows are working. No, some random guy. Okay, so this move, I think that was correct. So in the game, I mean the first instinct was to play d8, queen back, and now the issue is that red can play this move. I guess it doesn't really make sense because take, and if you check, I have a block. So let's check this out. I mean, I don't really see the point behind it. What's what I'm going to say? Like, what if I just attack the queen? And pretty much this is the point. Oh, now I remember. Yeah. Yeah, but the queen has to move, right? Ah, 94? No, I take the queen. Then you can block. Yeah, so this move. But now I think you can just trade. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but I don't see the mate. I mean, it's just a big trade, but anyway. Is there a way? I think you have to take the queen. And now here. Check. I guess that's the point. So now this wins a knight. But this is not end of the world, right? Like block. I mean, blue is very solid here. Like, I could imagine it going something like this. Okay. Yeah. Capture and another capture, and now push or take. I mean, push is normal. I guess this is better for red and yellow, but at least the blue king is safe. So let's return to the game. Yeah, so queen g9, c9, knight f12, knight k7, queen h11. I was a little bit mystified by this move. I guess the reason is that I don't really see the threat. Like right now, I much prefer the same as in the game. So knight jump. Now the question is, do they have something here? I mean, if you want to sack a bishop, I don't think so. So the point, I guess, was he was scared of this move. But I'm not sure it's warranted. Like, I play the same stuff. And if take, you have a knight block. And check, block. Like here. Now the queen is hanging, so check is a threat. And now I imagine this one. And now we have a free shot. So this is the point, I guess. Check. I guess you have this move. Okay. Okay. No, it doesn't work. Like, check, just block. So that was what I thought we could play. Here it's possible to sack a bishop. Knight. Look. Yeah. And now going all out for that attack is very critical. So you take. Now push. Oh, that's the check again, yeah. So here you jump. So let's see. So here, if the queen moves, that's very hard to say. Ah, yeah, now I have this one attacking the queen, and then the rook drops. I was very confused about the king move. I thought we could just jump with the knight. Now this is a very uncompromising move. Taking is the main thing, I guess. The point was just to get some action away from blue. And also later I open up the bishop. So it's really right now. The reason why I didn't want to play the bishop is that then my queen side is very vulnerable. So just any queen move attacking the pawn. And really I need to prepare castle just to get out. It's kind of because yellow has a grip on the blue position, in my opinion. Like, it's very hard to picture how blue would set up an attack on yellow right now, whereas yellow is kind of close to castling long. Yeah, so that's the reason for this move. I guess I might have to run, like if they sack some pieces. Like take, you can take with a rook, and then play check, and I have to move my king. Like if there's a preparatory move, but also they have to stop this check from blue, otherwise I'm not mated. So I felt like this was a safe move. And timing wise, it's probably best to take. But it gives me something to play for, and I'm aiming. There's no way I am attacking yellow, other than with the queen coming through the king side, which is why I turned my attention to the red. And I think it kind of scared them off. So here the point is check, I cover, so there's no way to double check. This move is kind of useful later if there is a double knight, like if I sacrifice one knight and suddenly the rook would be hanging. When my bishop leaves to capture the red rook, yellow may get a counter attack. And also later this rook can join into the action if I push the pawn and I need some activity that way. Now this is very uncompromising, I would say. Probably, yeah, here yellow continued attacking blue. There was something to be said for making a question mark to our move. What? Maybe here they made a tactical error. Not sure. Because now I don't have this move. What was the point? Always forget, yeah? We're bound to have something here. Maybe... no. I wonder which square to go to. I mean, this might be the best move. I could sack a queen here. Take. Probably not enough. Yeah, so I guess that kind of refutes it. I mean, I still have this one, but then it's possible for yellow to cover. At least there is some attack on yellow if that is done. Like, even though this is opened up, many of the active pieces are traded off. And this structure is super nice for blue. So imagine this one, take, or like here, and these two are traded. We sack the piece, this bishop is here, and this queen is forced to defend the queen because of this double attack. And that's why, like here, there, take, sorry, take, but then I'm here, so that doesn't even work. Yeah, this might save the day, in fact. I mean, it's kind of an intuitive decision at this point. So they went forward with the attack. Okay, so this was a hard one, I would say. Here it's very close to working that you can sack the queen. I think it was best to keep the queen on, and instead of sacking a queen, I kind of sacked the bishop, and now it was taken. If you take with the queen, it's less centralized, and I have another tempo move, so I think taking with the pawn was correct. It also gives the king an escape square, but it's a tempo. So now the question was, like, if you take this, is this check deadly? And it might be. Something along these lines. Now, if this is taken, yeah, I guess it's too much. Probably here I have to sack a knight. Possibly this one. This one is good. I want to sack this one. The other one, I mean. So here. And if taking, then it's I think it's a simple win. Because king here, or even up. This might be the best. Quite possibly, yeah. So the idea is this square is covered by the knight, so there's no pinning it. And if there's a check, I have a counter check. And otherwise, you win the queen. So I think that works. It could be that it's better to go to this square because this check might be annoying, and just run to the other side. So this might well need to be taken. Now how to capture it? Probably with the pawn. Okay, and now we're looking at another piece sacrifice. Here it's possible to go back with a knight. I think I would do that. Yeah, the same problems exist and this structure is pretty solid. I guess this is the idea you have to watch out for, but the attack is coming. I mean, you cannot delay this too much. For instance, now it's yellow to move. Maybe knight jump. I'm not certain. So let's just pick. I'm gonna sack a knight. Another one. And so I sacked both knights. Let's recapture. And now you have the tempo move you needed to take the knight. So if knight capture, it might be the best, so let's try it. So if takes, you just ignore with a bishop move perhaps. And now it's key how to set up the next wave of attacks. So this check could be annoying. Maybe here. No. Now I want to take. So I'm sacking a third piece. So if it's taken, then queen check and queen down mate. So you probably have to go in. Check. And the king is on the run. So I guess this is the best one. Now king here. Yeah. King up. Oh, it's a check, yeah. Check. Annoying. So let's say here. Because yellow will have to capture this queen. Otherwise I'm just mating. So takes. And now I take. The question is, do you have enough to mate with a bishop and some pieces? It might be. Like here. This is a mating net. Which move can save some attacks? Maybe this is the time to just attack, yeah? So if they... Yeah, here you really need to take the opportunity. Check. And here... No, this square. So now we're setting up a check. And now here. But this is enough, right? Yeah, this is just in time. Oh my god. Oh, it's so close. I mean, it comes down to one move. Because this is a mate. And this is a mate. But now I have any legal move except moving the bishop on this diagonal wins. So I can play the king, and that's the checkmate. Yeah, I mean, incredible. So in the game, we didn't take back. Here, take. Yeah, we got this far. Queen takes a6. The bishop was sacked. I sacked. Another piece. Just taken. Yeah, so basically I'm throwing 3 pieces at red and yellow is throwing everything at blue. And when blue gets a chance, he helps with red, and when red gets a chance, he helps against blue. So check. Yeah, this was very dicey. What was the... Ah, now I remember. Like in the position before, instead of sacking the bishop on I4, I was really considering sacking a queen here, but it can be taken. And after check, there's the really important bishop check here. And if not for this move, I think it's mating. So the point is that if you check on this square, then the next move yellow does not have a check. So blue has one move to mate, or I mean before he gets checked. And in the meantime, so take, check, check. And then I can win back the queen and have sort of an okay endgame. But the real thing is to take on j2 and try to checkmate. The king goes up, and the point with bishop b6 check is that anywhere the king goes, yellow can make a check. So this move saves the day, and it allows the king to get away. And if it's taken, then knight e4 check is just a checkmate. Or I mean, I was looking at it, and it looks like game over. Yeah, so this was a very critical variation, and it sort of explains the decision in the game where I sacrificed the bishop, because I really need to buy blue time to capture the d1 rook, otherwise I can't attack. Yeah, this was an excellent move again. One thing was like, if you capture the pawn, maybe you have a blocker which saves the tempo, like but it may not be true, right? I guess it was... they could have played it a little bit differently. Ah, yeah, but if pawn takes, knight takes, and you're still in the same position, or I guess you don't want to take it. Maybe that was better. Okay, continues. So here the idea is that if it's taken, then I have a check, which will free up a move for blue to check again. And if this check is successful, then I have another move to get a knight in. Like, and by the way, I could win the queen back. So this was probably a good move. This was very risky. You're kind of setting everything on fire. Now here I'm forced to check for some reason, I forgot. Yeah, this one. Yeah, right. So the queen blocks the check and I have no more attack because I have no support for these mating attempts. So it was very important to check. And critically we are up a rook here. So it's not possible for yellow to sack a rook to win the queen back. Or is it? Wait, what? Okay, so take. What was the point here? I guess we sacked the queen, but other than that, I don't know. Ah, yeah, of course. So take. Now you have queen a6. Queen check. Oh, maybe it's not so easy. Okay, king goes. Maybe you should have taken this first. In fact, because now I can block. Yeah, here it's possibly better to just take it. But then you don't win the queen anymore. Because I have my own ideas. Yeah, if you take, then I have something, right? Yeah, then knight here. And king up, this is a checkmate. And if the knight blocks, then it's the same checkmate. And there I think we end up material, even though they could have an attack. So I don't think they can sack two rooks. Anyway, we have two rooks for the queen. And then they win a knight. So at the very least we get like two rooks and one minor. And that's pretty good compensation if you get the pieces out. Wait, what? Okay. So we're trying, this was too far. here. I think we got to this point, right? Knight g1. Yeah, so we finished off here. The king had to move, and now I have a perpetual if you don't take. And if the queen leaves, I have another perpetual. So then blue is left to try to get out of checks. Yeah, so here the idea was, this is a mating idea. I think if you take this is checkmate. Or that one. But yellow has a check on green. So like this is taking this knight is such a mess. Alright, so if takes the knight, then you have queen check. And if takes, then knight check. And does not seem to be a way to avoid it. Like you have to play rook in between. If it's taken, is it possible? Wait a minute. Okay, so knight here. So take knight there. Or is this one better? Possibly. But that one can be ignored. That's for sure. Yeah, it was very messy at that point. So I think it was kind of correct. It's questionable whether you had to sack this rook. But still, the game is far from over. Check. Yes. So takes. Yeah, this is good. Check. Takes. Yeah, and here was the point where this was, I wanted to play king c4 here, and the idea is very pretty, I must say. So like, if you try to win the queen, maybe this square is best if you want to try it. So now I take. So this is the point. Check. This was what I calculated in the game. Like it's the same. You can choose which square to go to. The only difference is like if you go to d6 and check, then the king just comes back. And now I have gained 2 moves. So I picked up the bishop for free, and then I get knight k4. And this changes the evaluation in like compared to the game. So here, if takes the queen, now knight k4, and the cool thing here is like this is pretty much unstoppable mate. So if this one check, is it? Yeah, like here. Check. Yeah. And now check. King over, only move. And now you can choose. But I think by far the prettiest is like king in. So now the trick is knight h2, no, knight g2 is checkmate. So here yellow is forced to sack the queen. And this was like what I saw, this mating idea. And I think it's just over. Because these pieces are protected still. And if you have to play this move, then clearly it's over. I mean, we are up a whole rook and the bishop. And everything is protected. Yeah, and here is where you can make a case for other moves, but there is nothing. I mean, probably moving the rook is a valid try. The problem with it is that you have to cover this square. The point is seen in the following way. Like if you want to move the rook somewhere, now this square is not covered by the bishop anymore. So this is in fact a direct checkmate. And now the critical move is knight j3 mate. And this was the difference, because now green is not forced to check to save the knight. And otherwise, yeah, the final point is like knight h3 is the same thing. Exactly the same variation as before. Check, check, king here and mate. Yeah, so I guess you didn't like it. I thought it was working. So if you do the same via this square, now I can play knight k4 directly, and the piece is hanging, and after check the king just goes back, and the yellow is forced to play the perpetual. The difference being that now I can take the knight, win the rook with check, and there's no way to do anything but just walk the king up. And in fact, then you just do exactly like in the game, go back with the king, and when there are no more checks except by yellow being forced to give red obligation to cover the queen, and at that point I can move my piece to where I need to check red again. And then you just repeat this process until I win enough material to mate red alone. So yellow is forced to do the perpetual. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that king c4 just wins on the spot. And in the game, you play king back, which was kind of risky, I guess. Well, not really, we're still winning. I think the mistake happened. So check was, I think it was correct. And here the mistake was made. I'm pretty sure that this check is winning on the spot. And the point is that regardless of where you go, there is a check. Like, this check is very annoying if you go up, because I have this mating idea. And the knight in the corner protects, so that's really pretty. Like, a very natural move here is the check, and the point being that if knight check, king up, then you lose the queen, because green is out of checks. But here you critically have this knight g4, and it's the same idea. Like, if the king goes back, king down, and you are forced to give up the queen, but every time you give up the queen, these pieces are just mating. So king back, and now king down, and yellow is out of checks except for checking my king, and then this is mate, so you have to takes, and red will have to take the queen. But now this is a checkmate like before. So that was winning. Instead we played or rather after this exchange check, I think here the mistake was made. Yeah, this was a mistake. I think a simple win is to develop the rook in the corner. So what happened in the game was that we blundered two pieces here, and the game was actually pretty balanced. But I think this move is winning very simply. It just picks up the bishop, and if takes check, the queen is hanging, so you win the bishop for free. So red is down to just a knight, whereas in the game it was not so easy. I mean, it became easy, but they had some opportunity. Yeah, like in the final position, almost, right around king here. Is this the one? Yeah, here. So here, yeah, right here, yellow had to play queen h4 or queen k1, and suddenly my knight is trapped. Yeah, and then it's anyone's game, and probably red and yellow are better, because this knight just drops. Yep, and when they miss this chance, then the game is, then red is just getting mated. There's no running here. Like, the king is forced to stay, and if you go in the corner, then queen mates alone. So the knight was played and then mate. Yeah, but here they actually have a save, which is kind of incredible. And I will have to bring my rook out, and probably you can manage to win this, but because red is so down on material and I still have rooks. But this could have gone any way at all. Yeah, and that was the first game. Now let's go to the next game. Oh, that was the previous one. Sorry. Yeah, and then I think probably the most convincing win was the last one. The second one was still just 18 moves, but it had some critical points. So now we're playing the reversed thing. So the first few moves are identical, except blue played c4. So here, instead of c4, valger played queen b7. I mean, it makes sense to play c4, but it's not a simple way to play. So, what did they play? In fact, yeah, because after queen b7, the queen they played f3, and we were forced to play e4 directly. So we have the same position, the difference being that the pawn is on e4 compared to f3. So this is the only difference between the first game and the second one. And I think developing the queen here is slightly better than when they did it. I thought when they did it, the queen being open was helpful. And the difference here as well is that the pawn's setup is switched. So this construction is a little bit safer. Okay, this was very risky because it leaves the king alone, and sometimes the queen wants to stay at home to safeguard. At the same time, I really understand this move, it's very sensible. Yeah, and all the time here you have to calculate what happens if the king is that queen attack is played, and the suggestion was to play this one. I mean before the knight, so before these jumps. So now they tried it. Yeah, so this was very sensible play. Yeah, and queen g5 is a little bit risky. It's very concrete, I would say, but also it's a very good square. I thought it sets up many nice ideas, and it also kind of tries to exploit what they were trying to do, because I'm going around to the weakened king and I'm claiming my king is safe. So they played correctly, I believe, at this point. Now this move I think was quite good. The option was moving the queen, opening this diagonal is very useful. The problem with other moves is that after rook a5 attacking my queen, if I move the queen I am mated, so if I force red to play this move the next turn, then green can attack the red queen. It still might be okay, because knight, if I have to block and then I play the knight, no, if I play the king, then I have this knight jump the next turn, so it might work out. I'm just saying, like, tactically it's a mistake if we don't play e5 on this move. I think it's a very good move. Now this one, I think it's a clear blunder. Probably it's best to take it, even though it's very risky. I guess making the bishop move, any bishop move is better, just to get the king preparing to castle short. Now this one asks too much from the position after king h14. Now had he played the bishop first, this move would be going right into the fire and the king would get out of the center early enough. So they are going for it now. Knight d5. Now I predicted this move, but in fact it's just losing. And the point is that here there's a discovery on the queen. Now the blue queen is attacked and the knight also has to block. Otherwise I just take the queen. And if the rook is taken, then I take the queen as well. Another critical point is that the counterattack does not work because the red queen is on it. Yeah, and the game is pretty much over at this point. It's just a matter of cleaning up, really. I guess the main thing to take away from this one was to watch out for king moves to just run away. Because knight takes d11 was a pretty big blunder. And here if the bishop blocks, I have a queen check. This is a simple mop-up job, so I'll just show the moves. Now queen d7 was mating, obviously. Yeah, and here I think the prettiest one is the queen to either of these squares. If the king moves, then there is a king capture, and otherwise it's a mate. This one is the same as what he played in the game, but it's kind of mating both players at the same time, which is why I liked it. Yeah, and here a king move is sufficient. And here green resigned because queen d10 is checkmate. So we're going to the final game. Alright, so we're going to start. So we're back to playing classical openings. I think this move is a mistake. You kind of want the queens to be on by playing knight I12 or I12. It was still okay. I think this move was kind of another mistake. You may want to protect the back rank with either a knight or I think knight f3 maybe, because after queen f2 you defend the back rank. e3 is also possible. Yeah, and the knight f12 is maybe practically the final mistake. You should have blocked the queen out, just so that the queens are on. That way blue will feel a little bit more uncomfortable, and also it's possible to defend the attacks from blue later. Like the yellow queen is needed to defend. And already here I think it's almost game over. Maybe the queen could have gone another direction, but it really doesn't matter that much. So here I think you had to sacrifice an exchange, otherwise it becomes far too dangerous. And I really like this move by my partner. Makes a lot of sense. I would have probably played a slower move, like a knight jump, just to prepare myself. But it was really a good decision, I think. Now you see the point I'm making. Like, instead of just sacrificing the rook when a knight got there immediately, now you're left to giving up the rook for free. Yeah, and this move is very solid. And the point here is that knight b9. No, knight b10 is covered by the bishop in the corner. And now the king is in big trouble, because there's a mating attack, because the knight is pinned. This move doesn't really help. It kind of runs into the knight jumps, but it covers the main threat perhaps, like take and check. But now we're just doing it quietly. And here, this was a mistake. Now it's just a mate next move. I'll just show the mating sequence. It's pretty simple. Just a mate. It's a forced mate because of this queen, which is on g3. Anyway, it would have been mate the next move if it could move, because then the bishop is opened up after knight takes, so there's a double checkmate. And instead of bishop takes b10, knight takes b10 is trickier. The biggest thing to take away from that, I think, is that now green should make a quiet move. If you make a knight jump in, then this bishop is unprotected. So probably the best move is just to develop a knight. And now, if you give the flight square, green is just waiting for yellow to run out. Like take. Now like a knight jump. And really this bishop is needed to pin the knight. If the king moves over, and now I just block out the bishop so that the other bishop is safe. And if takes, now we have knight check. So it's all about being patient. Like you saw that green had to wait 2 moves, and then we have the same forced checkmate. Yeah, and that was it. Thanks for watching the recap, and hopefully I can stream the remainders as well. I'm not sure I will do it while playing in the finals, because I mean in the final part of this tournament, because I'm not sure I can live with the lag. You know, it's better to do it afterwards. Alright, thanks for watching.